Good morning, everyone. Here it go again. Another day with my morning thoughts as I head off to work. This time, this is a little bit more, how I should say, concerning. But it's definitely something to think about. And I'm actually very glad to see it. And basically what I'm getting at is more and more people are becoming bold in their stance against this craziness that's happening around the world. I'm seeing more and more people step up, standing with Christ, and not bowing the knee to the ideology, whether it's from the left or the right. They're standing with Christ. And I'm very happy to see that. They're also using common sense. That's something that we haven't seen in a long time. Common sense. But when I break it down even further, this is actually little small mini replications of what took place during Daniel's time. You know, Daniel was young, he was a teenager. And there were a lot of other teenage males around, close to his age or whatever the case may be. And they were all pulled out of Jerusalem, brought into slavery, and brought to Babylon. And being brought there, they were tried to be forced to make them do things or accept things that they didn't want, that they don't go with, that doesn't belong in their thinking process. And I see it happening again. The Bible is full of situations that repeat and enlarge. That's why there's nothing new under the sun. That expression, that's where that comes from. Because a lot of the things that we do today, they're just reflections of what happened back in biblical times. The early part of biblical times, I should say, because technically, we're part of biblical times too, when you think about it. But it's just amazing to see more and more Christians taking a stand and standing for Christ, standing for His structure, His way of thinking, His way of life. It was God that instituted marriage. It was God that instituted all sorts of different things besides marriage. Common sense things. It goes back to those love letters, the 10 Commandments. Common sense. Thou shalt not steal. You don't take what's not yours. Thou shalt not kill. You don't go around killing folks just to kill people. You don't do it. You don't lie. You don't cheat. You don't sit up here and be jealous of what your neighbor has or jealous of what anybody else has that you want. Why be jealous about it? It's called get your stuff together, earn it. If you see somebody with something that you want, and there's plenty of it, okay, earn the money to go and buy it yourself. We're not supposed to be running around here trying to keep up with the Joneses, air quotations. That's crazy. But until we stop this madness, and again, get into this book. I've heard a lot of people call it the basic instructions before leaving Earth. I mean, hey, if that analogy works, use it. But it's true. I mean, everything in this book tells you how to deal with life. It tells you all your problems. It tells you how to fix all your problems, how to solve all your problems. It's no joke. Why would a book that's banned in so many different countries be number one on the bestsellers list? That's the Bible. If it's such a lovely fairy tale, as certain people like to call it, then why is it when you can go in that book and read it, you can see things that were predicted thousands of years before it even happened? Or you can see things that were talked about that were supposed to happen, has happened, or is in the process of happening. So, how is that a lovely fairy tale again? Makes you wonder. But don't take my word for it. Pick up the Bible yourself and read it. Like I've been saying all week long, the best way for us to understand not only our lives, but everyday situations that we deal with on a daily basis, it's in that book. Can't stress it enough. If we want to know and understand or get some type of understanding about God, our Father, it's in that book. If we want to understand Jesus, his Son, it's in that book. And not only that, when you read that book, trust me, you're going to learn something new and different every time you read it. It could be the same Bible verses. You've read them over and over again. But guess what? Each time you read it, you learn something different about it. You get a better understanding about it. But it's just very nice to observe things and observe people and see that the light's starting to come on. It's clicking. Not everybody, But for a vast majority of people, it's starting to click. People are starting to understand where God's coming from. Stop and think. In the Bible it says that the last days would start to speed up. Look around you. I kid you not. It's speeding up. You can do things and be distracted, and all of a sudden, your entire day is gone. In seconds, basically. Snap the finger, because you're not paying attention to the time. And then for those that seem to believe in climate change, you're right. The climate does change. It changes 4 seasons. Spring, summer, fall, winter. There's your climate change right there. Again, the Bible tells you exactly what's going to happen to this world. Jesus told his disciples the signs to look for. You have earthquakes that are scattered in various places all around the world. You have storms. You have destruction. You have pestilences. You have fire. Look at the wildfires, for crying out loud. All this stuff was foretold to happen. It's happening. Again, it's in this book. Certain parts of the book of Revelations, you can read it and look at the news, and it's literally happening. And for my fellow Christians, we have got to stop looking at politics as being separate and its own entity. It's not. Politics and the Bible are almost hand in hand. Moses dealt with politics. Daniel dealt with politics. The Revelations is full of politics. So, for those Christians that like to sit there and say, no, let's not talk about politics in church. We need to talk about politics in church. It needs to be said. Because decrees, aka laws, will be put in place. Some are already in place. They just need to be activated. And if we don't sit up here and pay attention to what these politicians are spewing, and we just believe every single thing that they say and vote for them, we're going to wind up being in a situation where we don't want to be. They already hate Christians enough. They hate us. And they want nothing to do with us. But if we don't watch it, we'll put people in leadership positions that hate us, and they will draft laws against us. So that's why it's important for us to look into politics and talk about it and make sure that we ask God for discernment when it comes to the people that we vote for. You know, God builds up leaders and he removes leaders. That goes for both sides. If you sit up there and you put your faith in this person, thinking that they're going to do one thing and they turn around and do something else, you know, I mean, God's going to be like, this is what you wanted. It all ties back to that whole, you know, deceitful thing that I was talking about earlier this week, where we run around here and we keep believing everything. God's going to send us the strongest belief of a delusion, the strongest belief of a lie. And if we're not ready, we're going to fall for it. But this goes to everybody. We got to ask God for discernment when it comes to things. And again, the answers are in this book. And that's just my thoughts for this morning. God bless. And I hope and pray that things will work well for you. You'll be able to understand where I'm coming from with this. And it'd be something to make you think. I hope and pray. But until then, till next time, God bless.